So today I'm going to be creating a 5x7 Halloween card using a new stamp from Indigo Blue called Spooky Boy. So to start off the card, I've created my card base, which is just done out of black cardstock. So it's 5 inches by 7, which is a very common card size, particularly here in the UK. I'm not so sure elsewhere in the world because I've not been everywhere in the world. So that's already done. So to create my kind of card front, I've cut a sheet of white multimedia cardstock at 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. So that gives me that little bit of black border all the way around, because I love my little black borders. So put that to one side because we're not going to need that for a while, and I'm going to bring in a mat because I'm going to do some inking today. So what I want to do is lay down the multimedia cardstock, and then I've got my distressed damask stencil, and I'm going to lay that down, grab some stencil tape. I don't want it to move. Oh, Mr. Nipper's just come in to see me. Hello, baby. We've been out on a very long walk this morning. It's red hot here in the UK today. So they probably won't get a chance to go for a walk this afternoon until after the heat from the pavement has subsided a bit, because I don't want to burn the paws or anything. So I'm just going to lay down that stencil tape just over the top, just to keep it in position. Like I said, I don't particularly want it to move. While I'm inking my background. So because it's a Halloween card, spooky card, and obviously we're going to be using some Halloween colours in the background. So I've got out mowed lawn, carved pumpkin, and seedless preserves. And I've already got my domed foams already prepped and ready to go. I've used these before. I used them recently on a tag that I did with the spooky spider and a cobweb for Mission Inspiration in August, I think. So what I'm going to do is that tape isn't sticking. It's not very, I know it's low tack stencil tape, but it should stick. It might be the surface actually of my craft mat. That's not very conducive to stickiness today, because it is quite humid, I suppose, today. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around and start adding in some distress colour. So we'll start off with the mowed lawn. So we'll start off kind of up here at the top, and I'm going around in circles. You can probably hear the stencil eating away at the foam, because that's just what they do, particularly if there's any sharp kind of pointy bits in your stencil. Okay, so we've got green there, so let's have a little bit of green down at the bottom. And we're going to kind of work in that circular, I'll say that's circular, in that kind of 3 area visual triangle, I think, of the worms I'm trying to say today. So we'll start off with the green, and then we'll do a little bit over at this side. I did try some other greens like cracked pistachio, but I didn't particularly like that. Alright, so that's the green, so we can put that to one side. Let's come in then with the carved pumpkin. Okay, then we can start blending that. We are going to get brown when we go over the green, because that's just what happens, so that's fine. You're not going to see all of this anyway, because I'm going to be putting something over the top. This is just literally the background piece. A little bit of orange over here. And my least favourite colour of all is the purple, which is why I've left it to last, because I knew there wouldn't be that much space left. But you can add it in different areas just to give you the hint of the purple. There will be a focal point in the middle, so I don't mind if there's a little bit of the other colour coming in elsewhere. And I don't mind, you know, blending the colours together a bit more. Where's that green? There we go. The mixed media cardstock really is forgiving with the inks and the colours, because that's what it's made for. So okay, I think I'm happy with that background. Put my little inks to one side. These little tubs, you can actually stack them together, which is really useful. Right, there we go. So we've got a bit of a nice Halloween-y background. I will clean the stencil off because it is only water-based ink, so it'll just come off with a wet wipe. Get rid of that tape. And I can get rid of that now. Just give that a quick clean off. There you go. So this Damaged Damask stencil, bit of a shameless plug coming up. This is available on my website. It's not just for Halloween, it's a good all year and all rounder, because you can also use this for Christmas too if you wanted to, or because it's a kind of vintage pattern or heritage pattern if you like, you can use it for any kind of vintagey style makes. Vintagey makes, why not? Why not indeed? Right, so let's bring, so there we go. So we've got that really nice kind of damasky pattern. Now what I want to do, I did have one here somewhere the other day, was an edge scruffer. And would you believe I've probably put it away? Let's have a look. I've usually got loads of them sticking about. There we go, there's two together there, look. So because it's Halloween, let's distress the edge. You can do this with a pair of scissors as well if you want. Just be careful. Right, I've cleaned the snow up because it does create a little bit of snow. So what I want to do now is just add a little bit of distress around the outsides. Because what's Halloween without a little bit of brown distress? Just coming up those corners a little bit. So the mixed media cardstock, by the way, if you're interested, is 250 GSM or £169 Daily Rowney. Mixed media multi-paper techniques. There you go. That's what I've used for this. Excuse the whizziness if that's just made you feel dizzy. I'm putting that in the screen then. In fact, you could, if you wanted to, just lightly just darken that background up a little bit with that vintaginess. Like I said, you're not really going to see a huge amount of this because a lot of this is actually going to be covered up with my main focal point for the card. So, have at it. Okay, so happy with the way that looks. So that can now get stuck down onto there, but I tend to do my sticking the main points down at the end, because that's just the way I roll. Right, so my main focal point is a new stamp from Indigo Blue for Halloween this year. It's called Spooky Boy. Very Tim Burton-esque. Love it, absolutely love it. So I'm going to stamp that now. The only difference with this is there's a little bit of an error on the laminate. It has the slogan, or the phrase, being normal is vastly overrated. That's on there as one continuous line. When you actually get the stamp, it's actually over 2 lines. So they are aware of it. I think they are addressing it. Right, let me grab. But mine was one of the very early pressings. Because I said, love that, want it. And they went, well, it's not really ready. And I went, give me it anyway. Gimme, gimme. I'll show you the other 2 spooky stamps that are in that spooky range. So they've got Spooky Boy, which is that one there. They have Spooky Girl. I love those kind of like skull stroke, pumpkin, balloon kind of things in the background. I love it. And then my personal favourite, but I'm not using them today, is the Pumpkin Monster. With the quote from the Rocky Horror Picture Show, I would like, if I may, to take you on a strange journey. It's cool. I think it was Charles Gray in the movie that said that, the narrator. But don't quote me. Well, you can if you like. So, stick that down on there like so. And then bits of fluff all over the place now. Versamark ink, because I'm going to be using some watercolours to colour him in. Juicy Versamark. Here we go. And I'm using the stamp platform just in case I don't get the best first impression. Down he goes. We'll give it one more. It's the first time the stamp's ever been used, so it hasn't been conditioned. So sometimes it's a good idea just to do a couple of pre-stamped stamps. If you've got a brand new stamp that you've never used before, it's never had any ink on it previously, it's usually a good idea just to give it a couple of stamps just to condition it before doing your first main one. But look at that. Like it a lot. So shall I mix and match. No, just for now. Let's just take that away. Give that a quick clean while it's still wet, and then it's got time to dry. Okay, let me have a clean up, a tidy up, get my watercolours ready, and then I'll join with you again in a second or two. I'm back. So I have my Indigo Blue Vivids. So I have Loxley Yellow, which is this one. I have Robin Hood, which is this one, which is the green. I have Maid Marian, which is that kind of violety light purple. And to finish off, it's Halloween, so we have to have an orange. So I have Alan Dale, which is up there. So I've got those 4 colours. I've also got a little bit of a water brush, which is about half full. We're not going to need a huge amount on these today. So I'm going to do kind of like the background first in the Loxley Yellow. So I'm going to put one very, very small drop of the Loxley Yellow, but I'm also going to add just a fraction of the Alan Dale, about half as much as that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get the water going on my brush. There we go. And I'm just going to kind of go over the background where I want this colour to go. So I can just see around the top of his hair, maybe just a little bit around that way, and then I'm going to mix those 2 colours together. And then we're going to go in just gently paint in. I apologise for the noise if you can hear it from outside. My neighbour's playing football in the garden with his son. No consideration whatsoever, because they're a bit football fanatics, soccer fanatics. So they do a lot of football chanting and that kind of thing. Okay, so I'm just going to bring that around as far as I can, and then just quickly wipe it off, clean the brush, get some clean water just from inside the brush, and then I'm just going to go in again just around the edge. Now I'm looking at it from different angles just so I can see that I've actually got the colour in, or the water in the places where I want it to be. And then we can come back in, pick up the colour, and then carry on. Just making sure I pick up just between there. Just go a little bit more. Spooky colour, we love it. The watercolour cardstock, or the mixed media cardstock, is really, really forgiving when it comes to how much water you can add to your background. So what I want to do now is I want to grab a little bit more of that Alan Dale, which is the orange colour, and then I'm just going to darken up the top part. So I'm just going to flip that around. So before I do anything, I'm just going to come back in with the water just to soften it again. So soften is actually not the right word, is it? There we go. And then we can just let it kind of do its own thing in that background. Let it wander, wick and wander. So we've got a nice darky orangey background towards the top. I might just bring it down a little bit further. Maybe in line with the ears. And then just blend it slightly. Yeah, happy with that. Right. Clean the brush, clean the mat. And then I'll be back. I think I need to fill the water brush up. Okay, so my orangey yellowy watercolour background is kind of dry now. So what I want to do is I want to put a real kind of light green sheen just on the Spooky Boy's face. So I want to go really, really light like that. So the way I got that colour was by taking just a real small drop of the Robin Hood, and I mean like the smallest drop like that, because that's really all you need. I mean, just look at that, that's just ridiculous, isn't it? And then take some of the Loxley yellow, which is this yellow we did here at the bottom, and put in about double. So we're mixing the yellow with the green, like so, and we get that real kind of nice acid green look, but I want it quite watery, like so. So I've just dropped that into that pool of water, and I'm going to take a little bit off the brush first of all. Try and clear as much off the brush as possible. But to be honest, that probably would be enough to go over the face. So I'm just going to turn it upside down so I've got better access, and then do his neck. And then up onto his forehead, under his eyes, just catch the ears. And then I'm looking around just to make sure I can see a shine. And then I'm just going to pick up a small amount of the green. And I mean, just really, really, really small amounts. So I don't want it too dark. I don't want him looking like Margaret Hamilton from The Wizard of Oz, that kind of green. Elphaba, if you're familiar with Wicked. Just a little bit of darker, just there, and then we'll soften that out with water. But it's kind of softening itself out anyway. Right, and then I've got a piece of tissue, and I'm just going to gently dab. And then just tiny, tiny, tiny amounts, just to give us a little bit of shade. Okay, I think I'm happy with the face. Clean up is as easy as that, look. Gone. Right, let me get it dried off and then we'll be back. Next up, we need to do is sweater. So, Maid Marian. This is the purple, that light kind of violety purple. So again, I'm only going to need the smallest droplets because I don't want it to be really, really strong. And then I can just pick up, I've got some water there. So there's a little bit of green left in that water, but that's fine. Here we go. Don't want a really wet brush, so I've just dabbed it off on a piece of kitchen towel. So we'll go, actually, that's a bit too light. Would you believe it? Okay. Perhaps I did go a bit too light on that. Not to worry. Mind you, I didn't actually add any water onto the sweater first. That's okay. I'm just doing alternate stripes. Right, if it's too dark, it's not an issue because I can come back in with a little bit of water and lift it really gently. Like on that end here where I've just been, it looks a little bit dark to me, but that's okay. Don't mind that for now because it can be remedied. Let's just get rid of as much of that purple colour on the brush. So I've got a Q-tip, cotton bud. All I have to do is just to dab it gently and it will remove just a little bit of that top surface. Can you see it's coming off on the Q-tip? And it will just lighten it. And then when it dries, it'll be just that little bit shade lighter. Like it. Okay. Because it's Halloween, we're just going to fill in with a little bit more of that orange. Like I said, you don't need a lot. Okay, so this time I'm still getting green coming out of that, even though I've just done the purple. It's persistent, like Robin Hood, I'll tell you that. Okay, so just add a little bit of water just to those stripes. There we go. And then pick up the tiniest amount. These colours are so pigment packed. You really need just the very smallest amount. I mean, look at that. I didn't even use that full droplet. It's just silly ridiculous. Certainly go a long way. There we go. So there's my spooky boy. Right, so we'll get it all dried off. And then on to the next step. Okay, spooky boy. So what I've done is you can see some black marks just around the outside of where I've painted. this is where I'm going to cut. I'm just going to kind of follow those marks, not slavishly, but just kind of follow it around. You'll see why in a little while. It doesn't matter that I've gone over where that white spot is at the top, that's fine. So theoretically that should just pop out there. Excellent. Okay, so now you've got him in close up. What I'm going to do is just go quickly around the outside with a little bit of distress. Not that you're going to see it, but just so that I've got peace of mind knowing that I did remember to actually do it. Like I said, you're not really going to see it anyway. There's no question about it, you aren't going to see it, but this is just me. Okay, so I'll explain. Just zoom out a little bit. There we go. So let me just explain what that is for. So most of you know that I've got access to a laser cutter and I do my own kind of MDF shapes and that kind of thing. When Kay Halliwell Sutton, the designer for these stamps, came out with them, I thought they would be perfect because they're kind of circular. If you look at, they would be perfect for a frame. Let me just try and get the other one. It kind of follows like a circular pattern. So I designed a spooky frame for it to go with, which is exactly what you see here. Now, isn't that just like meant to be? So literally those bits that you saw me cutting around, I went through the top part of each of those. But what I need to do, just to make sure, is I just need to trim it down a little bit because I've just held it up and I can just see a little bit of the paper shining through at in some areas. And without getting my head stuck right over the top in camera frame, I'm not really going to be able to see. But that's probably as near as I'm going to get it. But I've got to deal with this frame first. So what I want to do is I want to paint it black, and then I'm going to come back and then we're going to do some dry brushing with gold over the top. So let me get ready for that and I'll be right back. Okay, got my brush, got my black gesso, got my paint mat. So all I'm going to do is just probably end up giving it a couple of coats. Here we go. I may even give the second coat, not use gesso, but actually use the Raven Black metallic paint. Which is a lovely colour in its own right. Because we're going to be going over this with dry brushing, I mean, you could, if you wanted to, go the whole hog if you've got a wooden frame or anything, is crackle, do a crackle glaze on it maybe. the only crackle glaze I've got. It's a 2-coat crackle glaze and I can't find the second coat. Find the first coat. I think it's the top coat that I can find, but not the base coat. Right. Let's get this dried off, cleaned up, brush washed, and then I'll be back. Okay, so it's been a few minutes for that gesso to dry, and I have got that Raven Black metallic paint, which I think is going to work really kind of nice. So I'm going to give it a quick coat of that. Again, this isn't going to be all that interesting, so it's literally just watching paint dry. So all I'm doing is just going around the frame, just adding in that Raven Black. You can see it looks silver on the screen because that's the reflective metallic element of the black paint, but it is actually black. But like I said, on screen it does look silver. But it ain't, trust me. Okay, so that is the frame done in that beautiful Raven Black. So I'll get that dried off, get the brush washed, and then I'll be right back. Alrighty then, so the Raven Black is now completely dry. So I could, a number of different things I could do now to achieve the look that I'm going for. I could either use gilding flake, so go all over the frame with glue and then add gilding flake. But that's a bit too messy and a bit too, I'm just not in the mood for gilding flake today. Or I could paint with or go over with waxes, some metallic waxes, just literally with my finger, go over there. But again, it's not particularly what I want to do today, because what I want to do today is just do some dry brushing with metallic paint over the top of the black. Now, I just so happen to have a brand new metallic paint called Mad Hatter, and it's orange. And it goes with a new range of metallic paints from Indigo Blue. This one's called Queen of Hearts, which is a metallic red. And there's a few other, there's one called the Duchess, which is a metallic yellow. There's one called March Hare, which is another metallic green, and so on and so forth. Cheshire Cat, pink, metallic. So I'm going to try this metallic orange. Now I've literally just opened it, I've never used it before, never tried it, don't know what it's like. So we're just going to give it a go. I'm not even sure what colour the metallic element is, or whether or not, do I need to, let's grab a bit of scrap, here the scrap. Not sure what the metallic element is. Is it just white mica? Silvery, I think. Maybe I need to give it another shake up or a good stir. Just to make sure the mica, the metallic element, is mixed. So I don't know how long this has been sitting on the shelf for. Well, not long, because it's a new paint, but right. I'm not, yeah, there's a definite sheen to it. I'm not sure whether or not it's enough for what I want. Let's see. Yeah. I should have had more faith. Look at that. Now that just looks distressed and old. Oh, God, grief. Wow. Who knew? That's what we were waiting for. Yeah, metallic orange. Oh, look. That's just ridiculous. Look at that shine. Wow. Right, do you know what I want to do? No, you don't know what I want to do, obviously, because I've just thought of it myself. I'm going to bring in some of that Kingfisher blue. Just a touch. Or should I use the purple or the green? I've got one here called Royal Purple, which is a metallic as well. And yes, I know, metallic's not my favourite colour. Not metallic, purple's not my favourite colour, but just do. I need to clean the brush. That'll do just on that wet wipe for now. There we go. Let's just see if we can pick up. So there's silver elements into this as well. Just add a little bit of that purple in there as well. But I think what I will do is I will come back in with a little touch. It's almost like verdigris, isn't it? Right, clean that purple off. That's all I'm going to put on there. Just that little bit of distress from the purple. And then I'm going to grab, I think it's called Kissing Frog. Kissing Frogs, that's a bit brassy. I want to go real slimy lime. So again, metallic lime sherbet. That's real swamp slime, that one. And again, I don't want a huge amount. I really don't want a huge amount, just a little bit. That's Hugo next door. There we go. It's just going to tone down that purple a little bit. So we've actually got all three kind of Halloween-y colours, orange, purple and green. I'm just going to try and add a little bit more of the orange on. You could use copper, I suppose, but where's the fun in that? Oh, burst. There you go. Like it a lot. Okay, so I think let's get those put away, make sure the lids are on properly and securely, because we don't want them leaking everywhere. I'll have a quick tidy and clean up and then I'll be back. Okay, so we're ready for construction. So got my frame, got my spooky boy, got my background. So what I want to do first of all is add that to the back of that, but because I'm going to have to get my head in the shot to make sure that I've got it the right in the right position, what I'll do is I've got my glue here, I've got a fine point applicator, so I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to just go around the outside of that bit where it's needed, just to hold the cardstock in place. Don't know what that is. Bit of paper. Right, so that's a complete circle of the glue. Okay, so I will just lean in. You'll have to excuse the head. I think that's it. And I can just shuffle it a little bit if I need to. Yep, that's it. Cool. So I just want to put something heavy on there for now, just to hold it down. Just move those over there. Right, so now we've got the background to go on. So we don't need small applicators now because this is a larger area. There we go. That'll do. Right, make sure I've got my damask the right way up. And I've got a little bit of wiggle room. There we go. So we've got black border all the way around. Alright, so that should hold now. Oh, look at that. Love it. Lovely kind of like damask in the background. Okay, so flip that over. And then I'm going to put some glue really, really lightly. Come on. This will not make the image buckle. Put a little bit of splodge there, one there, bit there. Rotten strings. Get everywhere. All right. Let's flip it over. And then we can place that right in the middle. So what I need to do now is just put something heavy. There we go. Just on there. And then just a couple of heavy pots just on the ends, just to make sure everything's staying where it's supposed to. That should do, I think. that should do it. Right, back in a few minutes. Okay, it's been a few minutes, so that's definitely stuck down. It's not buckled at all on the back, which is absolutely perfect. So I just want to add a little bit of a quote. So instead of using the one from, it would have been nice if that was just one line. I think 2 lines is going to cover up too much. So what I've done is I've taken the quote from The Spooky Girl, which is, if you've got it, haunt it. And I've stamped that already. And then I've just put some distress ink around the edges, and then I've just mounted it onto a piece of black cardstock. So very easy and very simple. So all I'm going to do is just put a little bit of glue directly onto the frame. So if I just put it where I want it to go, which is going to be there, add a slight jaunty. So you could put it up there if you want to, but I'm going to put it across the bottom there. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue there, bit of glue there, blob there, blob there. That should do us. And then I just lay it pretty much where I want it. There we go. And then just to finish off as well, put a blob of glue up there. And then, just because it's Halloween, spider warning coming up. There we go. Just add a little spider to the top. Okay, so just as a final embellishment, I've got some flat back pearls here, and I'm just going to attempt just to add a couple just around. I'm just going to put real small amounts of glue, and then I've got my flat back pearls, a little pickup tool. Don't normally bother with this kind of embellishment, but then again, I haven't done any card making for quite some time. And this is the sort of embellishment that I would normally have put maybe on a card if I was still making cards on a regular basis, which is why I've still got these in my stash. Some of these are from Mum's stash actually, because she's getting rid of a lot of hers, because she says, which is quite sad, she's too old now to be making cards, which, yeah, I think is sad. But, you know, she's 82, her eyesight's not what it was. So, can't really blame her. This pickup tool, by the way, is just wax. It's literally a pencil with a wax core, which is perfect for placing down pearls. Let's just add another one there. Got a big blob of glue. And one there. There we go. Let that dry for a minute. It's been a few minutes, so the pearls are pretty much stuck in place now. And the card is done, and it's not too top heavy either. It's not going to fall forward, which is really, really nice. So there you go. There's my Spooky Boy Halloween card for my Spooktember series. So I hope you've enjoyed watching me put this Halloween card together. If you have, please remember to give the video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video for more Spookytember Halloween themed projects. Bye for now. I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, because without you, these videos would not be possible. And don't forget, you can access your exclusive angel-only content over on my website. There's a link in the description area below. Thank you.